Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here in New York City at Cloud Expo, and I'm talking with Amrith Kumar from Tesora. Amrith, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
Start me off. Tell me a little bit about Tesora. Who are you? What do you do?
So, Tesora is a company which productizes Trove. Trove is the OpenStack Database as a Service project. If you deploy applications in the OpenStack cloud, they typically have a database of some kind under them. Managing databases is really a pain, and Trove takes a lot of the pain of managing a database out. And it does this by giving you, as an operator, a common set of interfaces with which you can manage a whole collection of databases. So whether you use a SQL database like, say, MySQL or Postgres, or now Vertica, or a NoSQL database like Mongo or Cassandra, there's a common set of APIs with which you can provision the database and manage it through its life cycle. That's what we do.
So you mentioned OpenStack Trove. How is what you're doing different from Trove?
So OpenStack Trove is the open source project. It's available. You can download it. What we do is we give you a derived product from OpenStack Trove. In order to run Trove in production, you need to have things called guest images. Trove doesn't come with guest images. We provide you certified guest images for each of the databases which are supported. We also provide you support services with Trove. The last thing is that we're the largest contributor to Trove. So there's a lot of features which we're putting into Trove which you can get early if you use our version of Trove. So those are some of the things which we provide over and above Trove.
So being a major contributor to Trove, what do you feel are some of the biggest benefits to using Trove?
Okay, so most people in their private data center used to be in a situation where IT could say, you can only use a particular database. So it used to be, you can only use Oracle. And the reason for that was IT needed to be experts in that database. Today, most applications require a much richer choice of databases. For some things, you use a relational database, say MySQL. For other things, you use MongoDB, a NoSQL database. There's so many databases out there that an IT organization is really hard-pressed to be an expert on all of them. Therefore, it's been a fundamental disconnect between the development teams and the IT organizations. The IT organizations saying only this database, the development teams saying we can't be agile if you only give us those choices. So the benefit you have is the best practices for each database are baked into Trove. So the IT organization has to manage a collection of databases, but they don't need the same depth of expertise they needed in the old model. So an IT organization can easily deploy a database as a service and provide their in-house customers MySQL, Postgres, Vertica, DB2 Express with our product Oracle as well, MongoDB, Cassandra, Couch, Redis, this whole collection of databases, but they don't need to be deep experts in all of them.
Let's talk a little more broadly about the cloud and why businesses should consider using cloud databases.
Okay, so if businesses are considering using the cloud itself, most of them are running their private data center as a cloud. Or they have no private data center and they're using a public cloud or a managed private cloud, as the case may be. Your application typically has a database under it. Using a database as a service product like Trove or Tesora's DBaaS platform is a significant benefit because the cost for you of operating and managing that is dramatically lower. That's the fundamental use case for Trove. It's already a given that you're going to have a database. Why not use something which is going to be easier to operate, cheaper to operate, and much more reliable from a having your data around, not losing its security and things like that. That's what Trove offers you.
You've talked about some of the benefits of moving to the cloud and using database in the cloud. What are some of the reasons enterprises may be hesitant to do that?
So whenever you come up with a set of standardized things and you say, like Trove says, we'll manage MySQL and Postgres and Mongo and Cassandra in a common set of interfaces. There are certainly going to be some very, very specific use cases in, say, MySQL or Mongo, which are not easy to represent in that same form factor. If you're one of those customers who really needs to use those specific features, you might find a system like Trove to be somewhat restrictive. That is the most common thing which we hear from people who say we don't want to use something like database as a service. Put this in the context of, say, Amazon. No OpenStack involved, no Trove involved. You can run MySQL on a EC2 instance, or you can use RDS. There's a lot of people who don't use RDS because they feel it takes away some of the control. For most people, it doesn't really matter, but there's that small group of people for whom it does. For the vast majority, though, database as a service is definitely the way to go.
So you've talked about OpenStack Trove, and you've also used the term database as a service. Are the two the same, or what are the differences?
So OpenStack is a collection of projects. If you want to provision a compute instance, say on Amazon, you would say it's an EC2 instance. In OpenStack, the project is called Nova. In Amazon, you have storage. It's block storage or object storage. It's either EBS or S3. In OpenStack, the same thing is Cinder or Swift. In the same way, you have RDS, which is the database as a service project. Trove is the database as a service project for OpenStack. So if you were using OpenStack and you want to use database as a service, you are using Trove. The one thing to keep in mind is if you compare these things this way, Amazon has 4 different database as a service projects. It has got RDS, it's got Redshift, it's got DynamoDB. In the case of OpenStack, there's just one. It's SQL, NoSQL, all the same.
Excellent. Amrit, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great rest of the show.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.